Okay guys, so today we're going to be discussing text structure. And text structure is the way the author organizes the information in the text as a whole or in part of a text. Common text structures are compare and contrast, which show similarities, which is comparing, and differences, which is contrasting between two or more people and events. Cause and effect, one effect or event or action happens because of another. Chronological order, which is the order of events. And problem solution, a problem that needs to be solved, followed by one or more possible solutions. So, how you do this is think about a specific section of the text or the text as a whole. Ask, how does the author organize the information in the text? Ask, how does the organization of the text help me to understand the information? And then we have why. So good readers figure out how the author organizes information in a text in order to better understand the text and how different concepts and ideas relate to each other. Okay? Okay guys, next thing I want you to do is go ahead and make a paper like this with page number, text structure, and what it helps us understand. Go ahead and do that now. Pause the video if you need to. All right guys, so this week we're going to be reading Who Were the Tuskegee Airmen? And if you remember, Christopher actually did his project on the Tuskegee Airmen, so there's some familiar information that we should be learning in here. All right, let's get started. Ooh, this is a cool picture. It has a little plane here. It says, the title is Who Were the Tuskegee Airmen? January 20th, 1945. The plane was not going to make it back to the airfield in Italy. U.S. Airman Larry Flesher shivered inside the B-24 bomber as it limped through the skies. World War II had begun raging for more than 5 years. In late 1941, the United States had joined with England, Canada, and other countries to defeat Nazi Germany and its allies. B-24s played a major role in winning the war. Flesher's plane, however, had been hit while dropping bombs on a Nazi airbase in Austria. 2 of the engines were out. The bombing doors in the belly of the plane had jammed open. The wind was roaring in at 60 degrees below zero. Flesher had already lost a boot trying to unstick the doors. So, right now, what I would like for you to do is to pause the video and think what type of text structure was on this page that I just read to you. What type of text structure? Go ahead and do that. So I believe that that page was a cause and effect page. And I think that what it helped us understand was Flesher's plane was hit and the effects of the plane being hit. Because if we go back into the text, it says Flesher's plane, however, had been hit while dropping bombs on a Nazi airbase in Austria. 2 of the engines were out. The bombing doors in the belly of the plane had jammed open. So that lets us know, 1, the plane was hit, and the effect of the plane being, the cause was the plane was hit, the effect was that the 2 engines were out and the bombing doors in the belly of the plane had jammed open. Okay, so let's go on to the next page. Now he was afraid he might lose his foot to frostbite. The plane needed to land soon, but where? Down below, the Italian coast was fast approaching. Flesher and the rest of the crew scouted for a safe landing area. It was the co-pilot who found their best hope. He spotted an airfield, but it was one that didn't show up on any of their charts. We really were expecting it to be a German field because why wouldn't it be on our maps? Flesher recalled. If that were true, the pilot and crew would be taken as prisoners. But there was no other choice. The pilot carefully brought the plane in for landing and saw that this was no German base. The runway was lined with American planes. Splashes of crimson paint marked these P-51 Mustangs as red tails. These fighter planes were famous for protecting American bombers in enemy skies. So go ahead and stop right there, and I want you to think about, was this compare and contrast, cause and effect, chronological order, or problem solution? Go ahead and pause the video. So what I think the problem, or the text structure was problem solution. The reason being, the problem was that the plane was hit, right? And so the solution was that they had to find a base. So one of the pilots had brought the plane to landing at what they thought was a German base, but it was actually where American planes were. So problem and solution. All right, let's move on. The Red Tails had saved Fletcher's and his crew on more than one bombing mission. As another crewman put it, they were our lifesavers. Fletcher and his crew were so relieved. They went out to greet the approaching soldiers, eager to finally meet the Red Tails face to face. Instead of in the air, what they saw was a surprise of their lives. These are all black guys, Fletcher remembered thinking. It was a complete shock. Why is it so surprising to see black pilots in 1945? Fletcher was a white guy from New York. His entire crew of 10 men was white. The only black people Fletcher had ever seen in the Army were cooks and waiters. Until now, the Red Tails weren't just any combat pilots. They were the famous Tuskegee Airmen. They were the first airplane pilots of color in the U.S. military. But to Fletcher and all his white crew, their existence was more secret than an atom bomb. This is the last page here. So, for your last section, if you notice on my paper, I had pages 1 through 6. So that entire section, what do you think it was? Was it compare and contrast, cause and effect, chronological order, or problems? So I think that this whole thing was chronological order because it told a series of events that took place up until the point where the gentlemen landed and were able to meet the Tuskegee Airmen. So that concludes our ELA lesson today, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you tomorrow.